Hello again. I am back, and I have another video to make for Ben. He was posted his build in the exhibition for me, so that I could take a look at it. And if I remember correctly, it was PBR? No, that is not it. RBP. There it is, RBP Sledgehammer. This is his build, and I'm going to tear it apart and take a look at it and see if I can come up with some suggestions. I don't have all of the parts for this build. I'm going to substitute the tires, pretend that I have a melee weapon. I can substitute an engine and a generator as well. So it's not that big of a deal. I'm just going to pull it apart. I'll also substitute my cannons for it. But, you know, polish it up and see if we can't maximize the efficiency for the power score. So, what I need to do is actually go back into my garage, make sure I have an empty blueprint slot, and I will get rid of... Actually, I'll publish the cannonite. Let's see if I have any spots left. Owned. Yeah, I can publish the cannonite. And I'm doing this so that I can free up a slot in my blueprints without actually losing the blueprint. Oh, that's the Conquest version 2. Close enough. Okay. So, I go back into the exhibition, look up Ben's build, download it. Port violation. I guess you can make penises. That doesn't matter. Why are penises a violation? Whatever. So, I'm gonna load it. So, I'm missing 2 parts here, and I'll need to put the wheels on. I can always just cross-reference it against this, so I know where to put the parts that I'm replacing, that I'm substituting. So, build. I'm going to substitute with twin wheels because it's what I got. Oh, he does have a single twin wheel. He was talking about that, how he has one funky looking wheel. I'm going to just pull all of the decorative parts off for now. And I remember Ben saying that he had roughly 56 parts available to him. Move that back. Now, since I don't have all of the square panels available or necessary, I'm just going to substitute Avias here. I also don't have any sledgehammers. I have Thunderbolts, which are the purple cannon of the purple shotguns. So, I know he had them on the sides, and then one up top. He doesn't have enough power to actually put that on there. So what I can do instead is put a Lupara. Just imagine that these are, you know, more powerful than they look. I'm doing a terrible job. Okay, now cross-reference it so I have it as close as we can to the original sledgehammer. Why can't I rotate this view? Weird.
What's up?
So, and then there's a gap here, which is going to take another Avia panel. Alright, and this is essentially his build. You see he has his Wyvern cab tucked in and completely armored, which is fine, you can do that. I don't armor the top of my cabs. What it does is, what that ends up doing is protecting you from drones, but it also makes your vehicle more top heavy and a heck of a lot more likely to tip over when you're driving. This has a really wide wheelbase, so probably not the highest chance of flipping, but meh. So my first beef with this build is the structures that these guns are sitting on. Armor, yeah, I personally will not put weapons on armor. It's not solid space for them. These grills here, grill 2, oh, he's got a couple grills sitting around somewhere on this build. Right here. Make excellent weapon mounts because damage passes through them. So, you know, somebody will be shooting you and they'll knock your armor off, which takes your gun with it. If you put them on here, the damage is, these don't get damaged nearly as easily. It just goes right through it and hits whatever's behind it. So, I would find some way to get these guns on that. The next thing is, I wouldn't set them off to the side like this, because you're going to limit your firing angles a lot. With this build, you can't shoot behind you very well. If somebody's chasing you or you've got drones on your tail, you're not going to be able to take care of them. You've got great firing up front, completely unobstructed view, but you've only got, you know, a 40-degree angle where you've got all three of your guns shooting at it. The easiest way to deal with that is to find a way to set all of them on top of the vehicle. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the reason it looks like this is because he has the heavy generator sitting in here. I think it's the heavy generator. Cross-referencing. Yeah, he's got a heavy generator, so he sandwiches it in between a couple armor plates in front of his cab. This is one of the reasons why I don't like the heavy generator. Is it weighs a lot and it's huge for the bonus that you get for it. For a 2-part bonus, I'd go for a hazardous generator because you can hide it easier. It takes up a heck of a lot less space. It's a fewer power score, so it bumps you into a lower bracket tier. And the only issue is, when it does blow up, it blows up bigger. You're gonna lose a lot more hit points, which is why you tuck it in and hide it. A lot of people are torn on the way that I like to hide things. I will tuck it in underneath the cab. What is that? That was the cab. How does he sit in the cab like that? Anyways, that's not important. It's the same thing I do with the gas tanks. Gas tanks are good for money, so I like to put them on the thing. If you sit them down so that they're only sticking down one, typically speaking, if they're in between the wheels, you're not going to drag them on the ground. And that's the biggest issue that I found with the under the carriage explosives, is that they'll drag on the ground if you don't have your wheels set up right. Let's see, is he set up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? He's got an 8 wide wheelbase. I usually only do a 6, but this works. You could almost fit the hazardous generator underneath here the way it is. I don't have one, so I can't test it. Let's see. If it's sitting here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 long, 6 by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you could pack that thing in here. It would be a lot harder to hit as far as being a target, and it would let you shrink this thing down. Now, part of the reason why I don't put things on top of my cab is I find it easier to get full range with my guns as far as a full swivel. So a very quick and dirty way to do this would be to figure out where you want your weapon hard points to be. And this is in no way a final build. I'm just going over some basic details here. Let's see, where's my Lupara? Lupara! There you go. And if you set it on 2 different parts, then they have to blow off 2 parts before they'll actually blow the gun off. So they'll actually have to go through the hit points of the gun to get to it. And I like to do things in a triangle, like this, because I find that gives me the largest range of motion where all of my guns are shooting from all angles. Now, a lot of people like to hide their guns, armor their guns a little bit. You'll find it a lot with the Jawbreaker cab. But essentially what it is, what armoring your guns looks like, is this. You'll set a piece up one fuse unit higher than the mount that your gun is on. I don't do this myself because it kills your gun depression. See, I have to aim that high before that gun will actually shoot. One of the things I love about shotguns is that they counter drones so easily, but you have to be able to shoot down. If you can only shoot that far out, up this high, you can't hit the drones. So, take it or leave it. Everyone builds their vehicles differently. But mostly, I try to get as big of a range around my vehicle as I possibly can when it comes to placing my turrets. Field of view is good. It allows more flexibility. What I would do here, I would actually try to find a way to put another tire in. And you could probably just do it that way. I like 8 tires. That's just me personally. This build, since you have all that extra space now, I know he was using a... what was it? A large engine. It costs an energy point. I don't want to spend my energy points on the engine. I find that the light engine works just fine. It gets me up and going. It gives me a little bit of extra mass if I can find it in my garage. You know, I've played around with different engines. It's just, everyone prefers different things. I'd put more armor in the front of this vehicle. You know, like 3 layers. If I can fit it in that hole. Yeah, 3 layers in the front, and I'll put 2 layers on either side if you have them available. Now, the thing about the side layers is the wheels kind of get in the way. I will show you as soon as I find a plate, maybe a panel. So, you can put them on the frame here, but then when you get to the wheel, you have to go one higher, and then as you get over the wheel, you have to go another higher here, another step higher. It makes things a little complicated when you have a higher part limit, because you know sometimes you want to have wheel covers, armor in front of the wheel, so that they don't get popped off right away. Just something to be aware of. Is that weird little step. But in order to make 2. I'll use larger armor pieces on the side rather than smaller ones. You want to use as few parts as possible, simply because you do have a part limit. I know Ben himself has about 56 parts available to him for every build, and larger parts allow you to cover more of your build using fewer of them. And you get the same hit points out of it at the end of the game, at the end of the day. So, meh. And then I have mods in the back of mine, turret support mods. I like to put a radiator and a cooler at the very minimum, and mine are purple, but you can get them in blue and white form if you're running a little short on cash. Let's see, weapon radiator. Oh yeah, he has. Where is the issue that I'm running into? I don't have a generator on this build right now because I didn't have... Anyways, I like generators. They allow you to push the limits of your guns. Weapon cooler, and I'll stick these in the back, and then I'll put a layer of armor around this. Typically 2 in the back, 2 on the sides, and then 3 or 4 up front. Especially with a shotgun build, because you gotta get up close and personal. But what it does, having those mods in the back, is the radiator gives you more stock. Shotguns fire 4 shots, and then you have to cool down. A blue radiator, a basic radiator, gives you more shots. It should, except that this is not for some reason. It's because I'm using 2 coolers. Because I'm an idiot. 5 shots instead of 4. And for the purple one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots instead of 4. And that makes a huge difference when you're first popping up on somebody, because when you're driving a shotgun build, you want to get up there and you want to knock their guns off as quickly as possible, and you need more shots to do that. The problem with radiators is it increases your cooldown time, which is why a lot of people don't suggest putting just radiators on your build, because then, you know, you've got a lot of power up front, but then you gotta wait for it to cool down. Which means you're not putting damage out, you can't defend yourself, you're a target for drones. It's just not a good situation to be in. But, no. Whatever. So, 2 layers in the back, 2 layers on the side, 3 or 4 in front. And I like plows. Not necessarily just plows, but bumpers in general. For a specific reason is enemies. There's a lot of enemies with melee weapons out there. Let me show you the big one that lunatics have right in here. The beast that has the lawnmower. A lot of people will have the lawnmower, and the lawnmower is a monster of a melee weapon. So I'm going to drive up on the back, which does not have any ramming parts on it, and you see it's just eating the parts up. Just cuts through your build. 94, 32, 32, 100. Now, let's attack the front, where we have the plow. Oh, hit the brakes. What am I hitting? Hits the wheels, and then you're down to 20, 13, 16, 17. Look at how long these things are lasting. And as soon as it goes, as soon as you lose your ramming parts, it just tears apart your build. So, I actually have them on the front and the back of my builds, depending on how many parts I have and my weight limits. But, I'll always put those on there. And I will set them a little further ahead than the wheels than this is. Show you an example. Again, this is just a quick and dirty. I'm not actually putting a build together. But you saw in that last little run with the lawnmower. I don't want to change the faction. I'll talk about it when I get there. The lawnmower ate the wheels before it even hit the plow. This is a bad example because the plow is a little low and it's just going right up over the top of it. But here, if you stick it forward just a little bit, it's not going to be able to hit the wheels. That's part of the reason why in builds that I have saved, those blades are there. They'll catch people. They'll actually work as a little bit of extra cannon protection from cannon shells. It's just good hard armor. It takes less damage. It doesn't add to the hit points of your vehicle, but it protects your wheels, and that's important. If your wheels are gone, you're a turret. You can't go anywhere, and you can't actually affect change on the battlefield. But back to this build. I wouldn't stick it out nearly that far. It was just because that was the part that I had right under there, and I could grab it. Let's do a 2x4. Oops. Where's my horns? My hatchet. See? Right there. That's good spacing between your wheels and your blade and your frontal armor. Boop, boop, boop. And I'll just go ahead and polish this up a little bit and make it look like a build. And it gives you a little bit of extra space in the front. Here, look at this, we can actually space the armor. Spaced armor is great against cannons, because cannons hit the target, and then some of the damage passes through the objects to the objects behind them. So if there's no object back there, the cannon loses a little bit of its firepower. But then you run into issues like this where you've got pieces hanging off of each other. Shoulder mount, try to find some way, if you're doing a triangle shape, to put these guns not on the armor, but on these grill pieces. Which is another reason why I like to do mods in the back. Is it gives me something to build on top of. It gives me a little bit of extra working space. You cannot put guns on top of the wyvern cap, which is something that I absolutely hate about it. When I got my Quantum, I was extremely excited over the fact that I could put things on it, which I kind of chuckle at now because I don't actually have anything on that cap. Oh well! But just to show you what that looks like. Boof. Get rid of these parts because I wouldn't actually use those. Set this down here. Whoops. Right, and I would take the frame and extend it back. Longer wheelbases are typically, you don't want to get too long, you don't want to be too short. Everything comes down to balance, blah blah blah. Balance is good. But extend the frame. That way, you can sit armor right on top of it. You want armor to touch the frame if possible. Yeah, we're having a little bit of an issue here, because this doesn't stick out far enough. Go figure. But that's a problem for another day. Yeah. Just some basics. I probably forgot about something, but this is just me pulling apart Ben's build for him. You know, seeing what I thought about it. I like 8 wheels. I really do. This is longer than my build. How did this end up longer? I'm just messing around at this point. I'm not actually doing anything productive. Anyways, hope you got something out of it, Ben.